Hi guys, Megan here, the faithful fibromyalgia warrior, and I'm so glad you guys have come back. Surprise, surprise, I have a video and it's been less than 2 weeks from the last one. Um, Feeling inspired today, and so me and my dog Birdie here are going to talk to you guys for a minute. And really, what I wanted to talk to you about, sorry, I realized that this door is a bit open. Let me just do this. You'd think I would be set to go, but not so much. So, today what I wanted to talk about was understanding sometimes to get to where we want to be, we may have to make really small steps initially, but that's okay. And I'm more speaking for myself, but I have a feeling this might be something that applies to some of you as well. So, what am I trying to say? I was going to call the title of this, and I probably still will. I'm going to call it, I think, Sometimes Before You Walk, You Have to Stand. And that's true. You have to learn how to stand up before you walk. I mean, that's what infants go through when they take their first steps. They have to learn how to stand first, get balance before they start walking. But speaking more from somebody who is healed from fibromyalgia, who is healing from chronic pain and constant exhaustion, this is especially applicable, I think, because today when I was out this morning for my big walk, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do an extra long continuous walk every morning, which is usually around 7.5 miles, sometimes a little bit more, and then other walks later in the day. So if I take the dogs out again, I'll do another couple of miles. So I might do close to 10 miles total, but 7.5 of those are continual. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are days where I go do resistance training at the gym, and I have about a half a mile walk to the gym, and then half a mile walk back from the gym, obviously, because I have to get back. And then I do about 35, 40 minutes of reps on the weight machines, building my muscle, my bone density, which is important as I'm over the age of 50, female, and all that kind of stuff. But today when I was out walking and just enjoying being outdoors and the fresh air, and it was amazing actually, because the sun was out, the sky was clear and blue, and it was only about 1 degree Celsius. But I had been moving enough that I took my gloves off, kept my hat on, took my gloves off, took my jacket off, tucked it in my bag, and I just went out in my leggings and my base layer and my t-shirt, and I felt warm enough, generating enough heat, which for somebody who had thyroid issues for a long time, where I was consistently, always super cold, was incredible to not have that. Side point. But I felt like, well, I should have walked a bit longer. Maybe I could have done more like 8 miles or 8.5 miles. And I think I'd like to eventually work up to 10 miles walking 3 days a week, plus whatever else I do, but continuous walking as one stretch, and then whatever else I do throughout the day on top of that. Just because I feel so great when I'm out and I'm moving, because I couldn't for so long. And I thought, well, why couldn't I have gone longer? Why did I decide to come home? Why did I stop here? I should have done more. I should have tried for more, etc., etc. And it really struck me this morning, probably more than any other morning recently, that is, although every time I go out, I'm grateful, and I feel such a great connection with God out in nature. And it's partly why I love to go walking, because I'm outdoors. Whether it's raining, as happened Thursday of last week, whether the sun is out, whether it's warmer, whether it's colder, I'm outdoors and I'm feeling the energy and everything around me, and I'm seeing all that God has made, and I'm part of it, and it's incredible. And I'm here and I'm mobile. after being in a wheelchair for 9 years. It's miraculous to me. But I had to stop and remember how far away I was from this even a year ago. So about a year ago to the day, I had decided I wanted to come off my statins because I didn't need them. So I did. I was still on all my high levels of pain medication. I was still on antidepressants. I was still on thyroid medication. I was still trying to figure out how to manage my IBS. My Raynaud's was improving, but it was still there. And I was still having moments where I was really struggling with mental health, not so much with the depression, but definitely with my severe anxiety. Now, I had already been carnivore at this point 2.5 years. So I had seen, it's not like I didn't see improvement. I lost almost 100 pounds. My brain fog was gone. A lot of my chronic pain was dramatically reduced, although some of it was there, but it was a lot better than it used to be, for sure. And the one thing that I found really challenging was that I was still feeling enough overall fibro pain, obviously still taking the medication, because I still hurt. So I was still getting out every day, but I was using my electric wheelchair or taking my manual push chair and relying on my husband or one of my sons to push me when we went on family holidays. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's where you're at, do that. If that's the pain you're in and it hurts that much, or you're that inflamed, or perhaps like me, maybe you're overweight or obese, and doing any sort of intense immediate activity could put you at risk of injury, please use those devices. There's a reason why they exist, right? And I needed them at the time. But I remember about a year ago realizing I just happened to be I don't even remember who it was. Somebody in the carnivore space was talking in one of their videos. And what I was reminded of, first of all, was that when we deal with chronic pain, whether it is caused by injury or inflammation and history of injuries, and I've had a number of injuries to my lower back, as well as to my knees and my ankles. I've had spills, thrills, and falls throughout my life growing up. Just accidents and stuff like that. Falling while skiing, wiping out playing ice hockey or skating, slipping on the ice on the pavement, falling downstairs when my kids were really little, fracturing my tailbone. All this kind of stuff has added up. Okay. And then when my disc went out, when my disc bulged, prolapsed, for the technical term, if you're interested, 10 years ago, it triggered the worst fibromyalgia pain I've ever lived with in my life. Now, I think I've always had fibromyalgia. It was just never quite to this extent. Okay, and what happened was my neck, I started having neck pain and shoulder pain and, of course, severe lower back pain. So what did I do? What most of us do, which is I would sit and try to scrunch up my shoulders to relieve the tension here. Or I would sit slouched or lounging on the sofa to try to take the pain off my lower back because it hurt that badly. And of course, what that ended up doing was putting me constantly in a state where I was practicing really poor posture. Now, I was never good at sitting upright with my shoulders back and my spine straight. I never did that, even as a kid. I was a sloucher all along. So my muscles stretched and developed in such a way as to hold my spine in that poor position for decades. Then I got my injury, and then the fibromyalgia kicked in, and I was even in worse posture, if that's possible, believe it or not. And I suffered like that for 9+ years. And what I realized was that anytime I did try to walk or move, whether it was from this room, like around, just literally out the door and around the corner is where the bathroom is. So even if I would walk from here to the bathroom, I would walk with my shoulders rounded and hunched forward. I would always walk slightly tipped forward. I would walk with trying to curl up my spine to try to ease the pain that was there. And of course, now I know that that's the absolute worst thing to do. Because what happens is your muscles develop memories. So whatever you train them to do is what they're going to remember to do. So the reason why it would hurt when I would try to walk at this point was because I was practicing such bad posture. I was so hunched over, I was so stooped and hunched forward that's the way my spine started to curve a bit. And this I was told by one of the consultants I saw back in 2018 for something unrelated. And the more that I try to squish up like this and curl into myself and try to ease the pain that way, the worse I made it. Because our bodies do best when we hold our spines nice and straight, when we tuck our pelvis underneath us, right? When we walk with our shoulders back, with our head in a neutral position, not tipped up or not hunched forward. The more that we put that strain on, the harder it is to exercise, to just walk through life. And so anytime I had ever tried to take a few steps here and there, it always hurt so badly because my posture was crap. So a year ago, as I reminded myself today, you know what, about a year ago to the day, I gave up my statins, but I also realized I've got to start working on improving my posture. Because as long as I continue to constantly have a neck pillow behind me, with my shoulders rolled forward, sitting awkwardly on the sofa with my legs at a comfortable but not a good angle for my spine, the more I sat slouch-like. And every once in a while, it's probably fine, but that was how I sat all the time. And if I didn't start working on improving my posture first, I would never be able to walk and get stronger and do all these any other exercises that I might want to do, because my bad posture was going to have a negative effect. I wouldn't be able to have the correct forms. I wouldn't be able to strengthen properly because I'd be holding my body in a really terrible position. I would be training my muscles to get stronger with bad posture. And so you've got strong muscles, but they're forcing you into bad posture, which is just going to continuously cause pain. And I remember the first thing I started doing, literally, was I stood up in the door frame in our lounge living room area. Stood up against the door frame. Straight back. Pelvis tucked under. And my feet as close back, as far back towards the wall as possible. So I was standing straight, like you're supposed to, with my pelvis tucked underneath. And I would reach my hands up and I would reach like just over the door frame, just to stretch and hold that for 30 seconds. I started off doing it every day, just once a day in the morning, just to get a little bit of stretch out. And then I noticed I didn't necessarily hold it for any longer than that, but I did it 2 or 3 times a day. And as I got used to doing that, I noticed that I was able to, outside of the wall stretches, I was able to hold my body in a much more straight position and start to practice good posture, because I wanted to retrain my muscles to hold my spine, hold my skeleton in the position that it should be in, right? So I'm not creating continuous pain. And I just kept doing that. And then I would, probably a week or 2 of doing this, I started practicing sitting on the sofa instead of always having my legs raised up, because we have really very nice lazy boys where the footrest goes up. Instead of constantly having my feet in the air, with my neck kind of crunched forward and my back sort of curved in that position, I started practicing sitting straight on the sofa with my feet flat on the floor. Sitting down while I've got my sort of, you tuck your tummy, you hold your tummy in, you hold your gut in, and you sort of feel yourself tuck your pelvis underneath, if you will. And then shoulders back and head in a neutral position, not tipped or forced or any of that. And I started sitting like that every day. I started off with just for 10 minutes. And it was sore because my muscles weren't used to this. For 9 years, I'd been forcing them into really awkward, unhealthy positions. And that's what they were used to. So there was a little bit, it wasn't like this sharp stabbing pain, but I felt a bit achiness because my muscles were now having to learn to do something new. So I would do my wall stands and stretch, and then I would practice sitting for longer and longer periods of time with a straight spine, with proper posture, with my feet flat on the floor without slouching. And it sounds silly and it sounds like, oh my gosh, that's nothing. But it was hard retraining my muscles to do that. The next thing I realized I needed to do was anytime I walked around the house was to walk with my shoulders back, my spine straight, and my pelvis tucked underneath me, as we're supposed to, as is what's optimal for our bodies. When we have proper, correct posture, and we train our muscles that way, walking, we use the muscles we're meant to use. We don't put excessive strain on our lower backs when we are walking with the correct posture. And so I had to practice doing that just around the house. It was hard work. I think I felt more muscle burn, not in a bad way, but I felt more muscle burn retraining my muscles to hold my spine, my skeleton in the correct posture than I did when I first started lifting weights again at the gym, honestly. Because once I had good posture, the other things would eventually come, and they felt incredible, and they felt so encouraging and not hard and not painful because I was following the correct posture to start with. And I never would have realized that played such a role, but it really does. And so come April, I guess, maybe late April, I realized, because I had been using a bath seat sort of over the tub. We have a shower head over a tub. Okay, so I had a bath seat that would rest on the edges, and that's what I sat on when I went to wash my hair and wash myself and everything else. I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to be able to have enough strength, not only in my core, but in my spine and the rest of my skeleton, to stand up under the shower for about 10 minutes on my own and not need the bath seat any longer. I didn't want to have to use it anymore. It was very helpful for a very long time, but I wanted to get better. And I knew that would be part of it. And the day when I was able to stand and take a shower, good 10-15 minutes without pain, because I had been practicing straightening my spine, standing with my pelvis tucked underneath, holding my core tight, building up my core. And that was the thing, because I was so slouched and so completely in such horrible posture, I had a very weak core as well. And so anytime I would ever try to walk or do any kind of stretches or sit-ups or exercise, everything hurt because I had no core strength. And I knew that was key as well, right? You have a strong core and you practice good posture, and all of a sudden you have this ability to get your legs to do the moving you want them to do. You have this ability to, you don't have to run. In fact, I don't advise it anyways, but just to get out and walk, which is what I wanted to be able to do. So here I am I remember crying tears of joy because I was able to stand up in the shower for good 15 or so minutes without agony. I wasn't slouched. I was able to stand up straight. And it may not seem like a lot to some people, but for those of us who struggle with chronic pain, with inflammation, with fibromyalgia, or other autoimmune pain conditions, it's a huge deal. To get that independence back, we don't need to sit on anything. We don't need anyone to help us. We are getting our lives back. to the point where after a couple of weeks, I was able to take the swivel seat right out of the bathroom, and it's in storage in the garage now. I don't use it ever. Don't feel the need, don't have to. And it just reminded me that about, from a year ago to now, I actually have come a long way. So maybe I didn't walk 8.5, 9 miles continuously this morning, but that's okay. Because I had to learn how to stand up with correct posture. I had to reteach my muscles how they should be holding up my spine, my skeleton. I had to teach my core. I had to make it strong again by standing correctly, by not walking with my butt out like this, but with my pelvis and my bum tucked underneath, my shoulders back strong, my head held in a position where I'm not causing strain and tension in my neck. And sometimes I'll slip if I'm writing stuff down, or I'm studying, or I'm in the middle of something. Sometimes I find, oh, my neck's getting sore. I've been sitting like this for a while. Okay, time to, stretch it out, start over. But I'm sharing this because I'm reminded, and I don't know why it just suddenly hit me today, but there was a time where all I could do was stand for 30 seconds against the door frame in the hall, well, between the front hall and the lounge, for 30 seconds and hold myself tall and straight with correct posture. That's all I could do. I wasn't ready to walk anywhere. I wasn't ready to stand up for very long in the shower even, but that's where I was a year ago. God is amazing, because now, like I've shared, I 3 days a week, I'm doing 7.5 miles continuously, plus whatever else I get up to the rest of the day. If I have errands to run, if I'm taking the dogs out again, if I'm going into town for coffee or whatever, that's on top of it. And even on days where I go to the gym and I'm doing resistance training on the weight machines, I walk a mile, I take the dogs for a couple miles walk. Then it's a mile, that's there and back, to the gym and back. So half a mile each way, plus the gym. Plus I usually walk the dogs again in the afternoon. And I'm usually having to run out because we've suddenly run out of milk, or we need more food in the fridge for lunches or whatever. Any reason to get out and walk, I take it, right? And I'm doing that every day. So I'm walking anywhere from 5 to 10 miles easily on a regular, consistent, everyday basis. And that's a blessing, that I've been able to go from horrible, curled up, scrunched up, terrible posture as an attempt to ease the pain, but of course it ended up just making it worse and made it last longer, long term, which I didn't realize. But I've been off all my medications now for just over a year. Everything. No thyroid medication, no statins, no antidepressants, no pain medication. None. And I'm not done healing. I think God's got more to do with me as I get stronger and stronger. But I felt like I wanted to share this with you guys, because I felt bad because I didn't go as long as I thought I should, or as I had sort of thought in my mind I was going to do. And yet, considering where I was a year ago, of just barely standing up to practice having good posture and teaching my body how to stand with a straight spine and all of that, to what I can do now, that's incredible. And just, it made me remember and realize, you know what? I had to take that time. I needed that time. I needed that time to work on, yes, getting off the medication. I needed to work on that time to gradually, as I've learned how to stand correctly, how to sit correctly, how to walk correctly. Now I'm at a point where I want to go out and walk because I feel good, because I'm doing it with good posture. I'm doing it the way I'm supposed to, as opposed to hunched over and everything's super tight and tense and causing potential pain and injury. I needed that time to get there. And I just thought, you know what? Maybe there's others of you out there who are feeling the same way. Like you want to get out, you want to be able to move, but everything hurts and you don't know why. And how do you start feeling better if you hurt all the time? It could be possibly as simple as maybe you're not practicing good posture. And I remember my mom used to get on my case all the time when I was young about sitting up straight and practicing good posture. And of course, I didn't listen. And that didn't do me any favors as I headed into my different injuries, but especially not when my disc prolapsed. And then I got really bad fibro because my posture was already really bad. And that was just a reason for it to get even worse. She was right. I should have been practicing good posture. It would have made a huge difference. But I didn't. But at least now I can. So if nothing else, I hope this might help you guys. It might just be as simple as taking every little step as a victory. If you're like me and you do suffer with chronic lower back pain, it could be perhaps that you need to practice standing so you can straighten your spine, right? So you can practice good posture. And your muscles are going to ache at first because they're being forced now to do something different. They will settle around whatever position you're in on a regular basis. That's what your muscles adjust to. So when you try to change that, you're going to feel achiness. But keep doing it. Start with 20 seconds. You can do 20 seconds, right? And build up because it will help you get to the next part. And when you can stand without a wall, with good posture, with your shoulders back, with your back straight, with your pelvis and your bum tucked underneath, then you're ready to start putting that posture and practice walking. And it sounds silly, right? We all know how to walk. What do you mean practice? Well, yeah, I had to practice walking, consciously making every effort to correct my posture. Because it's really easy to walk with bad posture because we get used to it, especially if, as women, we've ever worn high heels or wedge shoes of any kind. That will throw our posture out as well, which is why I don't wear them anymore. But, side point, that can help. And then when you're ready and you feel like, hey, I want to jog. Again, I personally am not going to jog or run because I don't want to have cortisol constantly at a high level for myself. If that's what you choose to do, that's your whatever. Do what you will. Walking is best because it's easiest on the joints, right? Once we have the right posture for it. That's the key, obviously. But even if all you have right now is to simply start practicing standing with the right posture for just a few seconds, once or twice a day, and building up, that's okay. Better to get the posture right before you attempt anything else than have it wrong, start trying to run or work out or whatever, and then you end up feeling pain because of it, because it's going to put pressure on the wrong parts of your body otherwise. So like literally, if this is the door frame here, I would practice standing like this. Just shoulders back, bum tucked under, reach up, stretch, feet up against the wall, head in neutral position, count to 20. That's it. Go sit down and try again later and build up for longer stretches if you can. And once you've got that there, then you can start practicing walking, while you tuck your butt under, your shoulders are back and your head's neutral, and it'll feel awkward. It might even feel a bit robotic at first, but I promise you it gets to be more natural. And when that's the case, then if you wish to take on walking, to get outdoors and get some exercise and fresh air and all that, your body will be ready for it. And you're going to feel great as opposed to painful agony because you've been walking hunched over and curled up and bad posture. At least that was my personal experience. So that's it for me, guys. I really hope you guys have an incredible day today. What is today? It's Monday, March the 4th. And I hope this is helpful. I really do. I hope this is helpful. If there's anyone you think might benefit or be encouraged by this, please feel free to pass it on. And Birdie's disappeared to go sleep in the corner. So no goodbyes from Birdie. But thank you so much for your support and for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video, which might be tomorrow or might be in 2 weeks. We'll see what happens. I'm on the edge of my seat. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next time.